St. Augustine Commentary on the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 34 to 51 following. Let us now see the rest concerning this man. Behold, an Israelite indeed, in whom is no guile. What is in whom is no guile? Perhaps he had no sin. Perhaps he was not sick. Perhaps he did not need a physician. God forbid. No one is born here in such fashion as not to need that physician. What then is the meaning of the words, in whom is no guile? Let us search a little more intently. It will appear presently in the name of the Lord. The Lord says, dolus, guile, and everyone who understands Latin knows that dolus is when one thing is done and another feigned. Give heed, beloved. Dolus, guile, is not dolor, pain. I say this because many brethren, not well skilled in Latin, so speak as to say, dolus torments him, using it for dolor. Dolus is fraud, it is deceit. When a man conceals one thing in his heart and speaks another, it is guile, and he has, as it were, two hearts. He has, as it were, one recess of his heart where he sees the truth, and another recess where he conceives falsehood. And that you may know that this is guile, it is said in the Psalms, lips of guile. What are lips of guile? It follows, in a heart and in a heart have they spoken evil. Psalm 40 verse 3. What is in a heart and in a heart, unless in a double heart? If then guile was not in Nathanael, the physician judged him to be curable, not whole. A whole man is one thing, a curable another, and incurable a third. He who is sick but not hopelessly sick is called curable. He who is sick hopelessly incurable. But he who is already whole does not need a physician. The physician then who had come to cure saw that he was curable, because there was no guile in him. How was guile not in him if he is a sinner? He confesses that he is a sinner. For if he is a sinner and says that he is a just man, there is guile in his mouth. Therefore, in Nathanael he praised the confession of sin. He did not judge that he was not a sinner. Wherefore, when the Pharisees who seemed righteous to themselves blamed the Lord, because as physician he mixed with the sick, and when they said, behold with whom he eats with publicans and sinners, the physician replied to the madman, they that are whole need not a physician, but they that are sick. I came not to call the righteous, but sinners. Matthew chapter 11, verse 11 to 13. That is to say, because you call yourselves righteous when you are sinners, because you judge yourselves to be whole when you are languishing, you put away from you the medicine and do not hold fast health. Hence that Pharisee who had asked the Lord to dinner was whole in his own eyes, but that sick woman rushed into the house to which she had not been invited, and made imprudent by the desire of health, approached not the head of the Lord, nor the hands, but the feet. Washed them with tears, wiped them with her hair, kissed them, anointed them with ointment, made peace, sinner as she was, with the footprints of the Lord. The Pharisee who sat at meat there, as thou whole himself, blamed the physician, and said within himself, this man, if he were a prophet, would have known that woman touched his feet. He suspected that he knew not, because he did not repulse her to prevent his being touched with unclean hands. He permitted himself to be touched, that the touch itself might heal. The Lord, seeing the heart of the Pharisee, put forth a parable. There was a certain creditor which had two debtors. The one owed 500 dinars and the other 50. And when they had nothing to pay, he frankly forgave them both. Which of them loved him most? He answered, I suppose, Lord, he to whom he forgave most. And turning to the woman, he said unto Simon, See you this woman? I entered into your house. You gave me no water for my feet, but she has washed my feet with tears and wiped them with the hairs of her head. You gave me no kiss. She has not ceased to kiss my feet. You gave me no oil. She has anointed my feet with ointment. Wherefore I say unto you, to her are forgiven many sins, for she loved much. But to whom little is forgiven, the same loves little. Luke chapter 7, verse 36 to 47. That is to say, you are more sick, but you think yourself whole. You think that little is forgiven you when you owe more. Well did she, because guile was not in her, deserve medicine. What does it mean, guile was not in her? She confessed her sin. This he also praises in Nathanael, that guile was not in him. For many Pharisees who abounded in sins said that they were righteous and brought guile with them, which made it impossible for them to be healed. Jesus then saw this man in whom was no guile, and said, Behold, an Israelite indeed, in him in whom is no guile. Nathanael said unto him, Whence do you know me? Jesus answered and said, Before that Philip called you, when you were under the fig, that is, under the fig tree, I saw you. Nathanael answered and said unto him, Rabbi, you are the Son of God, you are the King of Israel. Some great thing Nathanael may have understood in the saying, When you were under the fig tree, I saw you, before that Philip called you. For his words, You are the Son of God, you are the King of Israel, were not similar to those of Peter so long afterwards, when the Lord said unto him, Blessed are you, Simon, Bar-Jona, for flesh and blood has not revealed it unto you, but my Father which is in heaven. And there he named the rock and praised the strength of the church's support in this faith. Here already Nathanael says, You are the Son of God, you are the King of Israel. Wherefore, because it was said to him, Before that Philip called you, when you were under the fig tree, I saw you. We must inquire whether this fig tree signifies anything. Listen, my brethren, we find the fig tree cursed because it had leaves only and not fruit. Matthew chapter 20, verse 19. In the beginning of the human race, when Adam and Eve had sinned, they made themselves girdles of fig leaves. Genesis chapter 3, verse 7. Fig leaves then signify sins. Nathanael then was under the fig tree, as it were, under the shadow of death. The Lord saw him, he concerning whom it was said, They that sat under the shadow of death, unto them has light arisen. Isaiah chapter 9, verse 2. What then was said to Nathanael? You said to me, O Nathanael, whence do you know me? Even now you speak to me because Philip called you. He whom an apostle had already called, he perceived to belong to his church. O you church, O you Israel, in whom is no guile. If you are the people Israel, in whom is no guile, you have even now known Christ by his apostle, as Nathanael knew him by Philip. But his compassion beheld you before you knew him, when you were lying under sin. For did we first seek Christ and not he seek us? Did we come sick to the physician and not the physician to the sick? Was not that sheep lost, and did not the shepherd, leaving the 99 in the wilderness, seek and find it, and joyfully carry it back on his shoulders? Was not that piece of money lost, and the woman lighted the lamp and searched in the whole house until she found it? And when she had found it, "Rejoice with me," she said to her neighbors, "for I have found the piece of money which I lost." Luke chapter 15, verse 4 to 10. In like manner, were we lost as the sheep, lost as the piece of money, and our shepherd found the sheep, but sought the sheep. The woman found the piece of money, but sought the piece of money. What is the woman? The flesh of Christ. What is the lamp? I have prepared a lamp for my Christ. Psalm 132, verse 17. Therefore, where we sought that we might be found, having been found, we speak. Let us not be proud, for before we were found, we were lost. If we had not been sought, let them then not say to us whom we love and whom we desire to gain to the peace of the Catholic Church, "What do you wish with us? Why seek you us if we are sinners? We seek you for this reason, that you perish not. We seek you because we were sought. We wish to find you because we have been found."